Leaders in New York City pushed their defunding plan that would cut the NYPD's budget by $1 billion, which translates to over 2,000 cops cut from the force. Here to react is New York City GOP Councilman Joe Borelli. Joe, good morning to you. Can the NYPD suffer any more cuts?
Well, it's not the NYPD that might be the one suffering. It might also be the public. They are there to help. 88% of the NYPD budget goes directly towards personnel, towards salary. And about $200 million of this cut, as you mentioned, is going to go towards reducing the headcount from about 36,000 officers to about 33,000 officers. That is going to have an impact on the communities that we serve. And I think progressives need to be very clear with the communities they represent and tell them what police precincts they think are overstaffed, what investigatory units they think don't need to be in existence anymore. Because when public safety is the consequence, when crime continues to go up, I mean, those are the politicians who are going to be left holding the bag. They're going to own this.
So let's just quickly show you some of the proposed cuts to the NYPD budget. It starts with that reducing uniform head count up to like 2,500, 2,600 cuts, cutting overtime and shifting responsibilities away from the NYPD. I haven't talked to a lot of NYPD folks, but I've talked a lot to the DC police. It's a similar situation. This is crushing morale, Joe. How big of an impact do you think that has on the overall public safety?
Well, that's the point. Look, Griff, nobody wants police brutality. Nobody wants unaccountable cops or racism in departments. But it's unclear how cutting overtime, actually taking money out of the hands of your city employees, or not hiring officers, which we know the majority of whom in New York City will actually be people of color, it's unclear how those things are anything but just a punitive way to punish cops. Those don't solve racism. They don't solve police accountability issues. And they're just going to, number one, take money out of the hands of the police department, two, prevent us from hiring more people of color that do a great job for the NYPD, and three, we will continue to see rises in crime. Murder is up a triple this week over the same week last year, and on the year it's up about 25%. Same thing with shootings. So we're already seeing the trickling up effect of crime as it relates to police being pulled off of frontline operations and covering for these massive protests.
Joe, I wonder if we've reached a breaking point for the NYPD. Let me quickly show you the PBA statement we got from the chairman. It essentially says, for decades, every time a city agency failed at its task, the city's answer was to take the job away and give it to the NYPD. The city council wants to give responsibilities back to those failing agencies. That's their choice, but they will hear the blame for every new victim, for every New Yorker in need of help who falls through the cracks. They won't be able to throw cops under the bus anymore. I wanted to get that out because now this has been going on for decades. Is this the point that it changes?
Yeah, it does. And we talk about victims in this city, 94% of murder victims, 97% of shooting victims. These are all people of color. So when you remove some of these fringe sort of roles that the NYPD does, both in school safety and traffic enforcement, when you take them out of the purview of the NYPD and put them back into some agency that couldn't manage it in the past, you're not doing anything to, number one, protect those agents and officers, and you're not doing anything to basically address the problem of crime.
All right, Joe Borelli, thanks for joining us. Keep us posted on what happens in the council.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.